Jeff Finney does a great job. We've talked about it. The cabinet maker from Tulsa.
Mhm.
I don't know how many. He's got 49 guys now or something like that. But every so often, I'd say quarterly, he has them literally line up in the shop from the beginning operation, receiving material, all the way to across the shop, shoulder to shoulder, to where they load it on the truck for delivery. And each person looks to the right and says, "That's my customer. What can I do to make your job easier?" So he's literally broken down the silos by making a connection between the different operations. Onboarding or accepting delivery of materials is completely different than loading and running a CNC. Is completely different than building boxes. It's completely different than putting into drawers and finishing, shipping, and all that stuff. So it's a great way to break down silos, but um, in that case, they're formed by operations, and breaking them down is the way to recover that efficiency and get everybody on the same page and start looking across the literal limits of the CNC area to the building area, seeing across that and say, "Oh, we're all one continuous operation. We're not just me over here with my problems."
Yeah. I think this is one that can really touch so many aspects of a business. I think having a very clear vision and goals for the team really helps with breaking down silos. But then even just the culture of your company is really important here, where the values are shared by everyone. It's easier for people to get along and to want to connect with each other. Because if they don't want to connect with each other, you're going to have a hard time getting people to buy in to the vision, but then also to just share what's going on with what they're doing. And if you can foster that culture of open communication, of people that sound the alarm quicker. I mean, a great example of a silo is when people hide bad news. Like
Yeah.
that can be so bad, and really when your problems are in a silo and they're not able to be seen by everyone, then they just compound and they don't get solved quicker. I think also it's your operations. Like if you don't have systems that allow for information to be shared across the organization and inside your company, where it's easy for everybody to find, easy for everyone to access, easy for everyone to understand, then only the people who understand that information in that silo are going to be able to use it. I think this is where, on a practical level, what does this look like? I think communication is such a big one. Having some sort of internal comms communication system is so valuable for us. And for several of our clients, we use Slack. Some people, that's email. But it's so easy for us. We organize it by client. And then we also, for larger projects, we organize our communication by project. And anyone can go and see that information at any point. We can tag people. We can share that information very clearly inside of there. And then, so that's a great tool for communication. But then in terms of the project information, we use a project management tool and everything can be seen there. Tasks can be assigned clearly with guidelines. There's due dates. There's expected time. They can track their time on it. And so it's very clear who's working on what, when, and where they're at with that task. And that just allows it to be very easy for everyone to know where they stand and where the people around them stand. And if they're waiting on something, when to expect it to be done. That's breaking down a silo in many
Yeah, and
ways.
I think you just used them the old fashioned. How many are there? 5 W's.
Who, what,
Uh,
when, where, why?
who, what, when, where, and why. Seriously, everybody in the company doesn't need to know everything. The intricacies of the operations, but it is a great idea for the leaders of the company to say, "This is who is doing this. This is when we expect it. This is where it's being done, if that's a relevant factor. Uh, when it needs to be done and why we're doing it." And they can understand, at least you have the same targeted goals, right?
Yeah.
And Simon Sinek says, and this is a little different than the way he meant it, but people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it.
Yeah.
And there's truth in that for your customer, but that's also truth in that for your internal customer, right? Why am I doing this? This is causing me effort. Why am I doing it? Well, when the guy or gal downstream receives it and shows you how that helps them, oh, there's value to that. You place that. I remember my father-in-law was a machinist and he worked for New Holland by the way, I don't own New Holland, never did. Although my old landlord in college thought I did, and I got great preferential treatment. But anyway, he was a machinist for New Holland, and he took me to a tour through the shop. They were building combines shop, huge factory. Anyway, we came up to one machine that was so far built, and he goes, "Hey, that's my gear." And there was a gear that drives the shaker pans. That's what he made.
Wow.
And he'd never seen it. And I think he was thrilled that's not all he ever made there, but that's what he was making at the time. He didn't know where. It's just a hobbed out gear, had to be made to these tolerances. And that's what he did. Walked through there and he was thrilled to see it because now he knew what it was doing.
Oh man. Yeah. I mean, if you can share the output with people throughout the process, like a testimonial from a customer, like, wow, we absolutely love our new addition. It's allowed us to sleep better at night because we don't have to have a crib in here with our, baby inside of it and we can't sleep anymore. Like, wow, I made an impact on someone's life because I delivered the materials for that job, whatever it is, sharing those wins. I mean, that just for our Slack channel, we have, opportunities to share family things that are going on, what's going on in our life. Hey, this project went well. Hey, we heard this from so-and-so. And it's just a really valuable thing. The other thing I was going to say
there's
is,
one thing. Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say another area that's really important is data. And that's one where it can be very difficult without the right tool. But if you can share data with your team, they always love that because it helps them to understand where we are and how we're performing. And if you've given each of your team members KPIs to hit, if they have real-time data to see their KPI, that's extremely powerful. And if you can tie that very clearly, show them how that KPI ties to the vision of the company or to the profitability of the company, or whatever your goals are, that can be very, very empowering because they feel like they're a part of a bigger purpose, a bigger team, and they see exactly how they can make that team successful. So anyways, having that data can be as simple as having a dashboard. Something that we helped set up for somebody once was, the big thing that they wanted was, they wanted build work. They wanted to say, hey, we've sent this many invoices, this much dollar amount of invoices this week. And in order to send the invoices, they had to install the job. And in order to install the job, they had to produce the job in-house. And in order to have the job to produce, they had to have the sales. Well, all four of those numbers in real time, the amount billed, the dollar amount of jobs being installed, and the dollar amount of jobs being produced, and the dollar amount of jobs being sold was on a dashboard on a screen, and they could very easily see it. And now everyone knows exactly where we stand. And so then you got guys that are doing the production in-house that are saying, hey, you got to send some invoices. Like, look, we installed the job, but we don't have the invoices out yet. There's just accountability there. And I think that's a great way to break down silos.
Yeah, the one other thing too is if they see how their efforts fit in with the team, that's an incentive. If you can find a way that their efforts clearly contribute to their well-being, in other words, they have clear KPIs that they can understand, close connection between, something that happens now, not something that happens at the end of the year, and perhaps they're rewarded. And incentive pay can work when it's done right. It's a big problem if it doesn't.